What's up you guys, it's Graphic Phoenix back with another video today, and today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of you guys were wondering about, and that is planting a vivarium. So I'm going to be demonstrating it on my brand new budget build, which will be out either right before this or right after this video, depending on when I actually finish this. And if you want to go see that, definitely go check it out. This is going to be strictly for planting and choosing plants for your vivarium. So you can see in front of you, there are a couple plants that I have on display. It is a mishmash of different plants that I have on hand that can actually be planted in a tank. Not necessarily going to be using every single different kind in this, but this is also a more general planting video for you guys. So you might be asking yourself, Mike, how do I know what plants I can plant in my vivarium? And there's three basic factors that you want to be factoring in when you're starting to plan what you're going to put in your vivarium. First off is, what environment are you trying to recreate? It seems like a simple question, but different people will be looking to do maybe a desert or a semi-arid or an arid or a semi-tropical or a tropical. In my case, we're going to be recreating an environment for dart frogs, so we're going to be talking about warm, humid, soggy, or wet conditions. So you're going to want to be basing your plant selection off those factors. The next most important thing to consider is lighting. Lighting is a huge factor when it comes down to it. You can see here, this is my shadow going over the thing. That would be considered low light because you can hardly see. It's a very faded shadow. A good general estimate of shadow is sticking your hand under the light at different depths and seeing what kind of shadow you get. A very crisp, high outline, very smooth outline shadow will be highlight. Slightly more faded, a little more blurred is medium light, and then what you see here is probably considered about low light. On my tank, I will be using an LED, as you'll see in a couple minutes here, and it's going to be providing ample light for this vivarium, so I don't really need to worry about any higher light plants. The only thing I'll need to worry about is low light plants. Those will not like it in this vivarium. Now before we start planting here, I want to show you guys what different selection there are for plants in this hobby. These are not necessarily easily attained, especially in Canada, but in the States, all of these things can be found very easily in garden centers or local buy and sells. If you're looking for a Canadian supplier, I will be getting in a bunch of Neoregelia bromeliads, which you see back there. I will also be getting in some orchids and things, so if you're very interested, just go like my Facebook page and you'll get updates on there, which the link is in the description if you guys want to go check it out. For more updates, just follow the link to my Facebook page. So there are several very common kinds of plants that are commonly kept in vivariums. What I have in front of you here is it's kind of an imitation pilea. It's not technically a pilea species, but that is one of them that you definitely want to look for. You can see a couple different varieties. They come in mostly a ground cover form, so they're great for a foreground plant. The next up, as you see, is a philodendron. I only have one of these in my collection, and they grow like weeds. They root, they grow, they reproduce. They are super easy and prone to cuttings. So if you're worried about propagating them, they're very easy to propagate. And just an all-around amazing plant to have in your vivarium. Of course, everybody on my channel knows that I love bromeliads. Bromeliads, especially Neoregelia. There's Vricea. I don't know how to pronounce it. There's also a couple more, Achemia, something like that. I don't know. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, but there are several different sizes. The Neoregelia, which I have here, tend to be the smallest. There's a wide variety of bromeliads. Keep in mind, these are epiphytes, so they like to be planted in a very airy media or mounted on a piece of driftwood or cork bark or whatever. They're perfectly happy, as you can see in this picture, rooting onto different substrates that aren't actually dirt. Another great one that a lot of people actually don't think of and can be a little bit dangerous depending on what kind of frogs you have in your vivarium is actually carnivorous plants. Now this is a Nepenthes, I was told Madagascariensis. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. I haven't completely decided whether I'm going to be adding a carnivorous plant yet. The only thing with carnivorous plants is they are a little bit more advanced, so those of you that are maybe beginner, setting up your first vivarium, you might not want to go this route until you've kind of got the whole vivarium keeping thing down. Now, another great class of plants is called the Peperomia. There are several different species of them, thousands, I believe. I have Peperomia prostrata in a couple of my tanks. It's just starting to pick up now. I also have a Peperomia obtusifolia. And of course, last but not least, the last thing that I would recommend in a general vivarium is actually orchids. They do great in humid habitats. They come from a lot of these places, so orchids are a definite favorite of mine to put in vivariums. I'm hoping to be adding a whole bunch of new orchids to my collection this summer and beef up my orchid in vivarium situation over the next couple of months. In this case here, you can see I have a Restrepia orchid. This is just a quick overview of what I'm going to be putting in my initial planting of this tank. First off, we'll start, I guess, the easiest. We have Wandering Jew, Peperomia obtusifolia or something like that. I can't remember exactly. This is called Fine Baby Tears. In addition to that, we have a Restrepia orchid. That is Restrepia Falkenbergii. We have Philodendron Red. So under good light, this plant actually turns completely red. There's a tiny little bit begonia there. I can't remember what the species is, but it's very common amongst the dart frog hobby. I don't know what plant this is, honestly. I have no clue. If you guys know what this plant is, by all means, let me know in the comment section down below. It looks like a philodendron of some kind, but I don't know exactly what it is. Over here, we have some Ficus Panama, I think it is. This is a climbing species. This is watermelon vine, or it grows really well as a climber as well. And last but not least, we have some Magravia. I can't remember exactly what species this is. My buddy gave them to me, and they are looking a little rough for wear right now, but we will certainly get that correct. Just figured if you guys were curious, that's what's going in the initial build. Of course, as time progresses, I will have a ton more plants in there. A lot of the plants that I add to this tank will actually be cuttings from other tanks. So I figured I might as well show you how to take cuttings of certain plants. I'm not going to show you all of them, so I figured I'll demonstrate on my Aratus tank. Now, first thing that is going to be needed is a pair of scissors. These, as you can see, are fluval. These are 12-inch long. They work just fine. So I just move you guys a little bit because you guys were super in my way. So you got your scissors. I'm basically just going to be showing you on the Wandering Jew here just because it's really easy. The Wandering Jew you can basically cut anywhere and it's going to grow for you. You can cut it mid-stem, you can cut it near a leaf nodule, you can cut it really anywhere. So I'm just going to go in here. You guys can see I'll cut just behind that lower leaf there. And you get a cutting looking something like this. Now, the Wandering Jew roots extremely easily, but if you're looking for something that will help root your more difficult plants in your vivarium, I definitely recommend checking out a rooting hormone just for tropical plants. That's what I'm going to be using in this tank, and it works very well. So do not be scared. It's not going to harm your frogs, and it's only going to help your vivarium. Just before I kick it into the time lapse right now, I'm going to recommend that you guys, if you are looking for any plants or anything like this, if you're in the States, you can hit up Glassbox Tropicals or Josh's Frogs. I'm not affiliated with either of those companies in any way, but they both carry a lot of vivarium plants. If you're in Canada, it's going to be a lot harder to find plants for vivariums that aren't already very commonly available. A lot of us froggers are more than happy to trade or sell you some cuttings that we have, so don't hesitate to join a Facebook group or I guess Instagram pages and that kind of thing. Join Canadart. It's a Canadian dart frog forum basically, so those are my recommendations for those of you that are stuck in Canada. So with that being said, enough of me talking. I hope you guys have kind of picked out something that is useful from this conversation, and I hope that you guys enjoy me planting. What I'm probably going to do is just kick it into a time lapse with some music and then come back at the end and kind of tell you what I did, what I might do differently, what I might change in the future, all that kind of stuff for you guys to get a feel on how it is to actually plant a vivarium.
To hold the powers of the sun, to dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
And there you have it, folks. I know it might not look like that much right now, but we have everything in there. I actually hope to be getting some more cuttings from my buddy of some begonia and maybe a couple other plants that he has kicking around that are growing extra. Now, keep in mind, this is just a planting video. I'll be putting down the leaf litter right away, as well as adding isopods and springtails. Keep in mind, when adding the microfauna, you want to add that in about a minimum of about 2 weeks before any frogs go in there. Ideally even longer, so they have a long time to reproduce and get going in the tank before any frogs come in there and start decimating their populations. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that that I may have not have mentioned, or you have specific questions about specific plants or lights or whatever, that can all be answered in the comment section. I do answer pretty much every comment. I guess I'll answer one right now for those of you that are wondering what light I'm using on this tank. For right now, it is going to be a Phoenix Planted Plus 24/7, so it's an automated LED light. It's very powerful, provides great light for plants, so it is certainly one that I recommend. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, drop them in the comment section down below. If you like the video, remember to drop a like down below. And if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you can pass it on to your friends. You can click the share button or subscribe to my channel and you'll be notified every time I post a video. I do live streams every Friday. Join me on Instagram for my pictures as well as Instagram lives a couple times a week. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Graphic Phoenix, out of here.